Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Modern at the request of Patreon subscriber Chris, and this is Birthing RIZZLER Elemental Control. Birthing Ritual is a big part of the Modern format right now. There's a bunch of decks that cascade into it with Shardless Agent and really focus on getting this thing into play and then flip out Abhorrent Oculi ahead of schedule and stuff. That's certainly a way to play the deck, or play the card. Chris has gone for a different way, which is, rather than construct your entire deck around getting Birthing Ritual into play, construct your deck so that it doesn't need Birthing Ritual in play, but it's pretty sweet when it has it. Ritual reads, at the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature, look at the top 7 cards of your library, then you may sack a creature. If you do, you may put a creature card with mana value X or less from among those cards onto the battlefield, where X is 1 plus the sacrificed creature's mana value. What that means in real time is, this card was just designed to be as generous as possible in every direction. You don't even have to sacrifice a creature until you look at the cards. Like, let's say you have a Lotus Cobra and an Omnath in play. You have a 2 and a 4. It's not like you have to decide when Birthing Ritual triggers. Do I want to give up my 2 and maybe flip a 3? Or do I want to give up my 4 and have better odds at hitting anything that costs 5 or less? You get to see the cards first. And then once you see them, you get to decide what the best outcome is for yourself. And if the best outcome is nothing, then you just don't have to sacrifice. And then you also get to work your way up the mana chain. Classic fire design card. 3 different upsides, no downside, no risk. You love to see it. And Chris has put it into a shell full of exciting cards with enters the battlefield abilities. And it's a bit of a scam shell. We've got Solitude and Quantum RIZZLER, who go quite well with Ephemerate. Just get those ETBs doubled and then tripled, and you get to keep your big monster way ahead of schedule. The one main deck Consigned to Memory can do a little bit of a scam impression as well by countering the sacrifice or the warp trigger, and it's there if you want it. Lotus Cobra plus Risen Reef can become completely insane. Whenever this or another elemental enters, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, put it into play tapped. If you don't put the card into play, put it into your hand. Oh, you Lotus Cobra, you play a land, you play Risen Reef, hits a land, makes a mana, cast another elemental. This can go pretty far. And Starfield Vocalist as a 4 of appearing in the deck. This is, after Birthing Ritual, the coolest thing going on. This is the Panharmonicon Warp creature. If a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, it triggers an additional time. This thing costs 4, you can warp it for 2. This sets up turns like turn 2 Lotus Cobra, turn 3 Warp Starfield Vocalist, then play a fetch land, get 2 mana, fetch, get 2 mana. Now you have 4 mana to do stuff with. Maybe play Risen Reef, which triggers twice. Put 1 land in from those 2 hits. You get 2 more mana. Cast Birthing Ritual with that. Move to your end step. Stack the Birthing Ritual over the Warp, so you still have the Vocalist around. And then maybe Risen Reef turns into Omnath, which you get double triggers on. Or maybe you find a Solitude or a RIZZLER, and you just sack the 4-drop that you spent 2 mana on. This has some crazy, crazy turn potentials, and even when you're not doing the crazy thing, you're still just a Omnath Risen Reef value thing. This was a deck that dominated Modern for quite a while, a couple of years ago. I'm excited to try this out. This deck is full of cards I like, and full of cards I've never played before, but I like the way they interact with the cards I like. Let's do it. This is the Birthing RIZZLER 4-color Elementals control deck. I'm on the draw in round 1. I'm going to keep my hand. March of Otherworldly Light is interaction. I have the turn 2 Ritual that could send up a pretty exciting turn 3 Risen Reef situation. Or I could get Thought Seized. But this is the strength of this deck. Unlike the Simic build, losing this Birthing Ritual isn't devastating because all my other cards are just cards I'm happy to play. My opponent might see March or Reef and decide Birthing Ritual's fine. Alright, they did not decide that. There are 3 Surveil lands in the deck. Pretty generous mana smoothing going on here. Another Thoughtseize. I hope they were planning to take my removal spell because I drew another one. Risen Reef is gone. Alright, they're just beating up my curve over there. I'm going to get some white source. Meticulous Archive gives me all of my colors. Yeah, I'll do that. A basic island. I am going to need lands to play the game. I will start taking those. Well, my opponent collapsed my 2-drop and my 3-drop, but if this game goes to a point where I'm casting my Omnaths, that's going to be fine. If they turn the corner and combo me out somehow, then I'm dead, but if they are trying to set up something grindy with like a Flage or an Ajani, I have that kind of covered. If they Blood Moon me here, that's not great, but I have basic island. Flicker Wisp. Okay, so they are going to flicker their land into a 2/2, which is not that scary. Kind of Stone Rain yourself to put a Grizzly Bear into play. I think I can handle that. Okay, Prismatic Ending, white, red, blue. Just take some damage off the board here. And my next land is a big one. 3 of a kind Omnaths. Witch Enchanter coming in, and they missed a land drop. Hand is all spells over there. I mean, I'll play this card. It'll probably die immediately. I assume the Mardu deck that missed a land drop has a removal spell in their hand. But I'm going to invest it. Thalia. Okay. I mean, that's not really a removal spell. Not yet. If they turn the corner with an Overlord of the Baelmerk here, that could be a bummer. But I have enough Omnaths I can delete Thalia. It's not a big deal. The last time I tried to play March of Otherworldly Light on my channel, it didn't work. So I hope it will work this time. Cast with additional cost, target Thalia, exile 1 Omnath. Did it work? Hey, we did it. Okay, not bad. But opponent knew those cards were in my hand and made that play anyway. Gotta assume they're just trying to push through it. The RIZZLER. Okay, I'm gonna leave up white in case I hit Ephemerate here. No such luck. It's becoming a strange game where my opponent's not functioning, but neither am I. Okay. Overlord turned up a turn after. They had 2 Orcish Bowmasters there. I would very much like to be ahead of that card before it's in play. Oh no. I guess I'll take it. Oh. I will leave that on top. And then next turn, I'll Warp Vocalist and play Ritual. Oh, they just milled over a Flage. That's free money. And they don't have to commit to anything here because Bowmaster has Flash. That's how that card works. Would I rather just put Omnath into play than try to do this Vocalist shit? Because I could have a crazy Vocalist turn next turn. Alright, white, red, green, blue. I'm going for Omnath. I take an extra 1 from Bowmaster here, but if I hit a land drop, I get all that mana back in spades, or all that life back in spades. Okay. That card's good too. Alright, I gotta survive this turn, because next turn is going to be insane. Here comes everybody. I am going to block. Am I more worried about Bowmaster or damage? I have Solitude. Okay, I think I'm most worried about Orc Army, but that dies to a single Bowmaster. I assume they're just going to second main land Flage, pick off Omnath. Yeah, there we go. That's fine. But there's no reason to give them second Bowmaster kills Omnath without needing to invest Flage, if I don't have to. All right, here's Flage. Do they want to put me at 3 or kill Omnath? Omnath, yeah, good call. Don't blame you for that one. All right, it's party time, team. Ephemerate, oh no. Does that do anything different? Is Ephemerate better than Birthing Ritual? Okay, so I would Warp Vocalist, play Ritual, pitch Solitude, kill Flage and Bowmaster, and then I can flip into a 5-drop in the end step, versus exile Flage, and it's actually probably Orc Army, not Bowmaster, because I can beat a 1/1 just fine. Oh wait, I get out all. Right, that's what we're talking about. But then Starfield Vocalist is not around next turn to Birthing Ritual with. I think I'm going to do the Birthing Ritual play. Okay. I need to leave up green. Warp Starfield Vocalist. Oh, now I can actually keep Omnath. Yeah, I'm going to keep Omnath and pitch Ephemerate. I think that's the way to do this. Okay, exile Flage, exile Bowmasters. Solitude dies twice. That's funny. And then Birthing Ritual. And make sure I stack my triggers correctly in the end step. Ritual first. Okay. Look at the cards. I've done that. Sacrifice a creature. Yes. There was a RIZZLER in there, which will draw 2 cards. Pew pew. Sick. All right, there is still this Overlord ticking down. There are still cards in their hand. My life total is pretty low, but I feel like the corner is starting to turn. And this ritual stays in play for the rest of the game. Like, they got to answer that thing, or I'm just going to do it every turn. Oh, the Bone Zone. Is this lethal? No. Like, they can get Solitude here, but I gain life off of the Riddler dying. All right. That was a pretty good rip, though. And it has to be Solitude here, unless they're just trying to draw a card. Like, they could take Omnath or Risen Reef and see what they hit off it, I guess, but none of those are big enough to attack through Riddler. Yep, Solitude confirmed. So I'll gain 4 from Riddler getting exiled, but then I take 3 from Solitude, so this was a gain 1 life situation. Overlord wakes up at the end of next turn. Oh god. Do I want to try to Crazy Chain Vocalist or just do Omnath stuff? If Omnath hits a fetch land, I get it all. Alright, hold on. White, red, green, blue. Omnath, please hit a fetch land. Shit. Alright, I will gain 4 life and then see what my end step looks like. There's a Solitude in there. Is Solitude better than Omnath? It probably is. Okay. Yes, I'll sacrifice Omnath, get Solitude. My opponent just has a 4/4 in play that can continue to do graveyard stuff. And my hand is pretty juiced up if the game doesn't end all of a sudden. I will trade here. Just getting material off the board and gaining life. This does not do anything. They should have done this after combat, because then they would have had a 1/1 Orc army instead of no Orc army at all. Though that does jack up the turn I was trying to have pretty hard. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have enough mana to do everything in my hand. Do I want to do everything in my hand? Is the confusing secondary question. Because they're going to get Vocalist Plains. Riddler will draw 1, 2, then 3 cards, so Vocalist won't quite be dead to damage. Okay, alright, here we go. Warp in Starfield Vocalist. Warp in Quantum Riddler, who will draw 2 cards, and then 1 card. Solitude in response. Okay, so they don't want me drawing 3 cards, they want me drawing 2 cards. But I still get to do a crazy Birthing Ritual end of turn situation. Is Birthing Ritual better than Ephemerate? Yes, they have a 5/5 in play. I would like to churn here. Okay, here we go. Is there enough? Look at the cards. There is a Solitude. Yes, I'd like that. Solitude, deal with Overlord. Birthing Ritual, trigger number 2. There is an Omnath. There's also another Solitude. I could also just put Starfield Vocalist into play. But Solitude's so good with this Ephemerate in my hand. Alright. I will chain another Solitude into this. And that'll deal with Bowmaster. And I think at this point I can afford to take 2 from an Orc army. Opponent's got 1 card in hand, please don't be good. No blocks. If I untap here, I'm cooking. Alright, I'm cooking. Officially. Officially cooking. Attack with Solitude. And then we go Lotus Cobra. Shock-in Hallowed Fountain. I can afford it. Make a blue. Cast Riddler, who's good for 2 cards. Ephemerate is still up if I need it. And then end step, we double Ritual with 3 different creature options in play. Oh, there's a Flage. Do I want to move Flage up the chain? Do I need Flage? I could just... Alright, I think I want this Risen Reef for style points. I've triggered Risen Reef. Lotus Cobra's in my hand. Another Risen Reef. I think... Yeah, I mean, flipping the existing Risen Reef into the one in my deck is good. It's better than just declining, which is my other option. Alright, there we go. That was awesome. We have officially showcased the deck in exactly 1 game. My opponent is like a Mardu, Felia, Flicker style deck. They are a deck with a lot of triggered abilities in it. It's kind of their thing. Counter target creature spell. I have to give them a 2/2 bird. That's not ideal, but it might be okay. I honestly think I'm pretty close to pre-boarded for a matchup like this. Maybe 1 or 2 Wrath of the Skies in case they get wide on me. But the deck is basically constructed to already do everything I'm trying to do here. If their removal lines up well, Ephemerate could be risky. Because if you don't have any creatures, or if they have good removal and kill your creature in response to Ephemerate, it's not great. But are any of these cards better than Ephemerate? I could have the value Wrath of the Skies in, but they're not a deck built on 1-drops. They're not an Ocelot Pride deck. They're not an Urza Saga deck. And I have 2-drops that are important for me to keep in play. I think I'm going to side grade 1 Ephemerate into a Consign, because this stops what their deck does, but also kind of does the scam thing. Not nearly as well as Ephemerate. They did a little bit of graveyard stuff, and Endurance is just a nice body, but most of my creatures are nice bodies. Okay, yeah. Sideboarding 1 card, and it could conceivably be 0. I'm going to have to mulligan this no-lander, obviously. Deck's very mana-hungry. I think I would genuinely keep a 7-lander in this deck, at least in this matchup, but not a 0-lander. The 7-speller? Has anyone ever thought of a word for a no-lander before? Like, no-lander, obviously, is a term we have, but 7-speller? Look on the bright side of life. Come on, people. I'm going to keep this and bottom Ephemerate. Ephemerate is the high roll if I rip exactly Solitude, but it's also the worst card if I just get all my other relevant card slots seized. A tapped land. Cool. I do have to be aware of the card Blood Moon. I didn't see a lot of basics out of my opponent. They are a 3-color deck as well, but I would hate to just lose to some shit like that. I say that while also doing nothing to play around it. Story of my life. I could fetch a basic forest right now, which would let me play the game even through Blood Moon, but look at this mana. Okay, I will fetch my basic forest, and I'm going to play the Ritual, not the Cobra, because Mardu, although white is good at killing enchantments, black and red and white are all good at killing creatures. All right, yeah, Felia, sure. That makes sense. And they have the full Insano party. Orcish Bowmaster in hand, activate the 5/5 and make Felia bigger. Overlord has access to a Witch Enchanter, a Boggart Trawler, or Flage. Took back Witch Enchanter. Okay. Well, team, I'm in some trouble, I think it's safe to say. I guess what I do here is play Risen Reef and then try to flip it into something useful before Bowmaster kills it next turn. I actually could have played Lotus Cobra into Risen Reef, because a fetch land is worth 3 mana with Lotus Cobra. That's the joke. That's the Lotus in Lotus Cobra. Right, Flage is in my hand. I can't flip into Solitude here, and if they have just literally any removal spell, I can't flip into anything. Like a Fatal Push, a Lightning Bolt, it all does the trick. Okay, that one doesn't do the trick, but we've seen Solitude in their deck. Dumped an Emperor of Bones, and they do have the Solitude. Willing to use it. Fair enough. And the Overlord can get Solitude back every turn. This one's going to be tough. If only there was some way to play around it and have 2 creatures in play in my end step. There was nothing that could be done there. Felia and Overlord. Do they want the damage or do they want the cards? Yeah, they brought back Boggart Trawler and took the damage over the Flicker. Like, they could deal 5 to me, or they could rip another card into their hand. Yeah, Witch Enchanter. That's good against what I'm doing. Okay. Basically, no life, no hope here. Lotus Cobra can get Flage on the stack, which could kill Felia. Alright, I guess we just do that. Trigger, make red, fetch, get. I don't want to take damage here, but I also have to if I want to play Omnath next turn. 5, 6, 7. I know they're holding a Bowmaster, that's 8. If I go to 5, gain 3, that's 8, so I actually have to get a basic here. I guess I'll get a Plains. Flage, kill Felia. I'm at 10. Lotus Cobra dead to Bowmaster, squeaky clean. There's not a way out of this. I can save us all some time. Okay, their Netra is still really good. What can I do about that? Strict Serenade is a 1-mana way to counter those things. Consign to Memory. Yeah, I actually think more Consign to Memory, because if I counter the trigger on Felia that returns the creature to play, there's a trigger that exiles it, then a trigger that brings it back. And if I counter the bring it back trigger, that's really good. Do I want any Wrath of the Skies as a cleanup mechanic? The same conversation we just had. I'm on the play this time. I feel like I kind of want to send it. And Risen Reef and Lotus Cobra are both pretty terrible versus the card Orcish Bowmaster. I could shave some Risen Reefs and Cobras and get some Ephemerates back in. Okay, I'll try this. Okay, hand's pretty sweet. I'll keep it. We got lands. That's step one. Opponent took a mulligan. Godless Shrine untapped. Show me that Thoughtseize. There it is. Nothing to do about that. My guess is it will take Lotus Cobra. Unless they have Bowmaster in hand and they don't care about Lotus Cobra. Took Omnath. Okay. They're worried about the big stuff. Get a Surveil land here. Probably Meticulous Archive. Yo. Alright. I like that card. I'm going to fetch Basic Forest and play out Birthing Ritual. And this plays around Bowmaster in that I can play Lotus Cobra, then immediately play a land before they get priority to kill it. Another Vocalist. Okay. Lotus Cobrino. Tear. Alright, I've been torn. And I think I should play this land out and just pass the turn. I have access to Consign to Memory here. I could get a fetch or a Surveil land and then cast Consign to Memory off the ETB. Yeah, that was a really nice on-curve 1 mana answer. Prismatic Ending. Alright, well, you got me there. End step, I will Surveil off of Hedge Maze. Do I want red? What does red do? It's Omnath and Flage. But I want the Surveil. Double white versus double blue or double green. Right, I'll take Hedge Maze. I don't want another Consign to Memory. Interesting. I could warp Starfield Vocalist and then consign the warp trigger and just have a 3/4 in play. That seems pretty mid though. Opponent's also draw going over there. Big Risen Reef. Okay, this is dangerous. I would have loved this card last turn. But now if they get a big Felia turn going, it might be bad news for me. All right, I'm just going to pass the turn and see if they have Felia. They do. They've seen the Consign. Oh, we'll see how buck wild they get with Felia here. All right, they do have Overlord. There's no creatures currently in the graveyard. They hit Witch Enchanter and Flage. Took back Witch Enchanter. Yeah, are they going for it? No. All right, they know how their cards work. Disappointing. All right, now I'm in kind of a squeeze. I need to answer Felia before anything else can happen. Or hit a land drop. Quantum Riddler. All right, I like that guy. I'll warp this in. Ephemerate. Awkward, because it unlocks Felia. It's also a white card for Solitude. If I had another mana to consign the warp trigger and the sack trigger, that would be pretty sick off consign, but, you know, if I had wheels, I'd be a bike. I think I'm just going to pass here. And if I flicker Riddler, no, I'm going to flicker Riddler. If this draws a white card, I'm in the same spot. And it leaves a 4/6 in play, which, okay, no, it doesn't. All right, Solitude pitching Solitude. All right, the coast is clear. I've been cooked. It did cost them 2 cards, but they're going to get it all back with the Felia business. Yeah, now the coast is completely clear to do what they want to do, and this is going to be basically impossible to keep up with. They did a really good job with the Thoughtseize and Wear Tear, 2 1-mana pieces of interaction into Prismatic Ending, into Solitude. So they had 4 pieces of 2 or less mana interaction this game. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, you know, like, Modern's a powerful format. And I'm going to put that white card on top because I'm about to draw it. And then this can deal with Overlord and also trigger Risen Reef. I think Overlord's a bigger problem than Felia, even though they are doing stuff. Breeding Pool into play, tapped. It can't be untapped. Those are the rules. Yeah, Felia flickering Solitude every turn isn't ideal either. Or at least doing something. Flage out of the bin. Yep, that was there the whole time. It doesn't have haste, and it's not a very good thing to flicker. All right, big rip for Starfield Vocalist. What can I hit? Island's not it. Guess I'm just casting one of these. It's 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm at 2 on the board. Or no, I can block the Felia. And I can consign a Solitude trigger. Orcish Bowmaster. Don't love that. Dealing 1 to Starfield Vocalist. I accept. Oh wait, that was really bad. Or no, I can consign the Flage trigger. Okay, I can counter both of these. So they don't get to kill Starfield Vocalist, and they don't get to flicker Bowmaster. I'm still going to take a huge crush of damage and lose my vocalist. The consign proof of concept, that was pretty good. Oh my goodness. All right, well, I've drawn Birthing Ritual and might as well warp this because it's not going to be in play at the end of the turn anyway. All right, GG's. Yeah, it turns out 0 and 1 mana interaction are pretty good versus the deck relying on 3 and 4 drops to function. But this was a sweet matchup. Everyone's playing to the board, doing cool on-board tricksy stuff with various engines, Felia, Birthing Ritual. Felt good. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next-day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. On the play for round 2, I'm going to keep my hand that has lands in it. And I have a Solitude Scam, if I want it. A land pass, opponent also kept 7. Polluted Delta. I'm going to search for... It might be Lush Portico is right there, but I did that. So, I don't know. Call the cops if you're mad about it. Steam Vents tapped. Yeah, I think green might be more important, but this can fetch basic forest if it has to, versus like a Harbinger of the Seas. Jace the Perfected Mind. Am I playing against actual mill, or is that a win con in some horrible control deck? All right, turns out I am playing against actual mill. Swamp mills me for 3. Okay, I can smoke this thing with March of Otherworldly Light without burning any other resources. Something's happening in the upkeep. Are they going to extract? Okay, my Birthing Ritual. That's fine. I accept. I don't need that one to win. My deck does like cranking out lots of cards, though, which could go poorly versus this deck. Do I want to just Flage their ass? They didn't Archive Trap me last turn when they had the chance. They just used Surgical on something that's not Flage. What is March going to hit in this deck? March is my pitch to Solitude. Yeah, okay. All right, here we go. They milled my basic planes. That's annoying. I guess it doesn't really matter. I'll get Sacred Foundry, red, white. Yeah, okay. Having 0 green mana in play this late into the game feels weird, but I don't think I'm worried about that. All right, Smoke the Crab. All right, snapped off a second Surgical on Flage. But like the thing about that is there's only 1 Flage in my deck, and this was just a 2-for-1. It killed the Ruined Crab, and it got Surgical Extraction out of their hand, and the rest of my hand still completely functions. So like they gotta keep it moving here. They've got a Jace, all right. And they're plussing that. Target player mills 3 times X cards. So this Jace is currently good for 12. Yo, Big Daddy. Okay. I'm going to fetch my... It has to be green. I think I want a second... Or do I need a third white? Do I need a second blue? Or third blue? Colors are pretty good. I'm going to get Temple Garden. Green, red, white, blue. I just want the thing that hits the hardest. Prismatic Ending. I can actually kill Jace with that. 40 cards in my deck. Jace, -3, the Omnath, Field of Ruin. I have basics, and with the help of Mighty Omnath, I'm gaining life here. Not that life is what's important in this matchup. Yeah, like having that planes milled randomly early in the game has cost me Ephemerate, I think twice now. It's fine. It's fine. We're doing pretty good. Okay. Windswept Teeth, Prismatic Ending, green, white, red, blue. Smell you later, Jace. I still have to deal 15 damage before these 38 cards in my deck run out. And one of the cards that I'm holding, Cephalic Coliseum, targeting yourself. Cool. Cool tech. Discarded Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Yeah, good bet that that won't go very far against me. Okay, I could just cast Solitude. I'm not afraid of cards. Let's go. Flooded Strand comes into play. Flooded Strand also comes into play. Pass the turn. They're passing back I don't really want to turn on Archive Trap if I don't have to, and I have multiple cards in my deck that care about landfall. Risen Reef. Put you to 14. I've now done 1/4 of the damage that their own surgical extractions have done. We're doing it, team. Okay, I hate to turn on Archive Trap, but I love to have threats in play. So I will cast Solitude in this end step. Get Breeding Pool. I have the white that I need. And this leaves up options to get different white. Am I getting drowned in my lock? Alright, that's still fine. And they did come up with an Archive Trap. Did they come up with 2? Starfield Vocalist. That is a 3/4 creature. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Visions of Beyond. They get to refill. Yeah, I feel like I'm starting to fall behind here. Hedron Crab. That one I can cover. At least a little bit. I'll fetch in response. Hallowed Fountain. Come into play. Crab resolves. Field of Ruin is a little annoying. Okay, I'll let you mill me. And then I'm just gonna not play my removal spell unless they activate Field of Ruin. And then I can surveil twice off of a surveil land because of Vocalist, which is a little awkward. I don't want to dump 2 cards, but also I do need to find action. Field of Ruin misses. Opponent also failed to find a basic land. Lush Portico, trigger twice. Hedge Maze, put it in the graveyard, help them mill me. Solitude, put it on top, let's go. I don't think I'm winning this game. There was a time when it looked okay, but it doesn't look okay anymore. Fractured Sanity mills 14 cards. Well, I only have 13. That's hardly fair. All right, I'm out of here. All right, I'm going to bring in 3 Endurances. They could target me. Mystical Dispute, just be able to fight over anything. Consign to Memories, kind of whatever. Strict Serenade, Artifact Creature or Planeswalker. We saw Jace, but that was kind of the worst card they played that game. Right, Flage is good because it makes them do stuff. March of Otherworldly Light. I think Starfield Vocalist might be one of my worst cards here. Risen Reef, pretty low impact. I do like Ephemerate. Scamming out a Riddler or a Solitude to attack early and often feels kind of important. Alright, this is my deck. I could board in more. Like, I could just present 65 cards or whatever, but I don't think that makes my deck better. Keep. A Temple Garden tapped. I didn't bring in Vexing Bauble for Archive Trap. I don't know that that one card is worth that. Okay, opponent played out Hedron Crab, just like that. That probably means they have 2, or else they would have sequenced it in a way that it doesn't die for no value. Or they just plan on curving out the whole game. Yeah, second crab. To the surprise of no one who's been paying attention. Milled for 3, Solitude, Ephemerate, Misty Rainforest in there, Nile Spellbomb. Well, that plays around Endurance pretty well. Alright, here we go. No choice but to play into Archive Trap. Lotus Cobra. I actively don't want to fetch basics because of Field of Ruin. Make blue, play Risen Reef. I might still be able to Ephemerate this turn if I hit a land. Hell yeah, let's go. Surveil. Keep that on top. Oh wow, I can kill the Hedron Crab here. That's actually pretty good. I'll make a white. I'll Ephemerate Risen Reef. This might seem like an aggressive spew of resources, and it is, but that Hedron Crab is a problem. And we are kind of doing it. Right, Mystical Dispute to my hand. That might be good at some point. Alright, I've got 3 damage on the board. I've killed 2 Hedron Crabs. Pass. That was a sweet turn. Ephemerate. I will hit my Risen Reef again. I'll take a card. Right, they're killing Reef. I don't think this is the type of thing that I counter. That's fine. I accept. Another Ephemerate. Let's go. Attack for 2. And I think the Surveil is worth the loss of value on Lotus Cobra and potential Omnath. Fractured Sanity. Okay. This is the type of thing I was holding my dispute for. Risen Reef mid. Milling 14. Not mid. Lush Portico. Stomping Ground to the graveyard. Yeah, let's find some action. Yo, that's one of the better cards that I have in my life. I'm going to attack with Lotus Cobra. And I think I'm just going to pass because this Nile Spellbomb's up. If they use it to draw a card, that's great. Fractured Sanity. I mill 14. I have to dance around this Spellbomb a little bit. Visions of Beyond. Okay, so I can fizzle this. All right, whatever. I will cost you your Nile Spellbomb. Wow, they didn't respond. And now Ephemerate beats the Spellbomb. I'll let the pay a black thing burn off and then Ephemerate. FT dubs. Boom. That's messed up. And just the shame concede. Yeah, they could have played around that and chose not to. I'll take it. All right, Vexing Bauble. It affects my Solitudes and Ephemerates, but it affects their Archive Traps. Archive Trap is just like, if you got it, you got it. I have Endurances in my deck now. All right, yeah, I don't like that. I'm going for it. Same deck. All right, I've got Solitude white card, Endurance green card. These are all the important things in this matchup. There's that Nile Spellbomb again. Maybe it'll do something this game. Land pass. Hedron Crab. Fetch land. Build me for some stuff. I'm just going to fetch a Surveil Land in the end step. I'm going to get the Portico. Endurance on top. They'll probably fetch and try to get rid of that. But this is Solitude's job in this matchup. Let's deal with Hedron Crab. And then they just fetch a random land and I draw Endurance. I kept a card on top. Endurance in the grip. Stomping Ground, take the beats. Lotus Cobra. I'm ready to Lotus out Endurances next turn. Another Crab. Field of Ruin, tough. It does trigger Lotus Cobra though, if they use it. It's pretty funny. Misty Rainforest, go in. I'll make a blue. I'm not using it anyway. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Yeah, I only have 5 mana here. That's not double Endurance mana. Next turn I can double Endurance. Or if they blow up one of my lands, does that get me to double Endurance? It's close. I'm not going to do the math till I have to. Math is hard. Uh-oh. They're bi-crabbing it. Milled for a bunch. Milled for a bunch. And this one's an 0-3. That's cheating. Draw for turn. Fetch land still intact. All right, Field of Ruin. It's math time. I will float a green and get Ruined. I'll get Forest. I should have fetched first. All right, I'm going to fetch again here. Did I mess that up? I feel like I might have just messed that up. Yeah, I'm one short. What am I even doing? Oh no, there's still a Cobra trigger on the stack. We're good. We're good. We did it. All right. Cast Endurance with my floating Cobra mana. Target myself. Obviously. Surgical Extraction targeting Solitude. Resolves. You can look at the other Endurance in my hand and take all my Solitudes. That leaves them with 1 card in hand versus a deck that's about to be refreshed. And they can use the Spellbomb to draw a card. But that is mediocre. And I'm going to let the draw card trigger resolve. Okay. Second Endurance. Target me. Zoop. Nice. Okay. And I still have a fetch land to play this turn if I draw a 3-drop. Which is impossible. It's never happened. But okay. I have a lot of power and toughness in play right now. And 46 cards in my deck. I think we can do this. Oh, the third Crab. There is still a Field of Ruin in play. There's a lot of potential hits. I'm not even going to fetch and Surveil because they could just mill it away at will. All right, I'll float a green here. I'll get my planes. They mill me for 9. Now I can Surveil and smooth out my draw. Oh, I hit Flage. You better have a Surgical. Yeah, I will take a Surveil here. Meticulous Archive. And I still have fetch land. I'll be able to access Flage here. It's fine. Blue. Omnath. Hell yeah. Put that on top. And move into Surgical Flage. They did, in fact, have it, but now they're down to 1 card in hand. Oh, and Omnath's gone. No, but I drew a different thing that might be as good. I'm going to attack with everything first. Make them think about that. They're taking the good block. And then make a blue. I'm going to fetch and make another blue. I actually want this RIZZLER in play. I'm not trying to be cute about this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to draw 2 here, so I think I should get an untapped land. Sacred Foundry, make a blue off Cobra. And I'm going to leave a white up on the other side of this. This does draw 2, but I'm at 33 cards in hand. Or in deck. 33 cards in hand. My dream. Triple Crab can do a lot of scary work. But this time it didn't. We did it. One of my favorite cards printed in the last 5 years. Endurance. Carrying me. We love it. On to the next round. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. I'm on the draw in round 3 with a hand that takes a little math. I need a green source to be happy with this hand. I've got 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 17 of those. It's about 1 and 3 cards as a green source. I'm going to mulligan. Okay. When in doubt, ship it. If that was closer to 50-50, I think I would have gone with it, but the deck doesn't have, like, cantrips or anything that would turn blue lands into potential green mana. Like, give me more look somehow. This is not a play pattern the deck has access to. You've got a Hallowed Fountain in the chat, and an Urza Saga. Well, there's a play available to me here. I'm going to grab this. What do I want? I want Temple Garden, but it's in my hand. I guess I'll get Hallowed Fountain then. Opponent already knows what's happening here. I'm going to exile this Saga before it even knows how to tap for mana. They would need Spell Pierce to interact. Springleaf Drum. Okay. RIZZLER is not as good as Birthing Ritual. I think I'd like to fetch. No, I gotta take damage to do everything I'm going to do anyway. Alright. Here we go. Birthing Ritual. Another Saga. Oh god, this one's so horrible. I wish I had countered this one. Ugh. Look at this nice set foil versus this horrible white border one. Oh no. I made a huge mistake. Oh baby. Does that change things? I don't think so. I think I'm just going to fetch Basic Forest, get my Risen Reef on the stack. It might get countered, it might lose. I don't know, but whatever happens. Alright, we're in the end step. And there is an Omnath. Alright, yeah, I'll sack Risen Reef for Omnath. Pew pew. Off we go. Straight up podding it. Podding on it crazy. Here's a bunch of Tormod scripts. And probably a Kappa Cannoneer. Sure. Alright, the race is on, but Omnath is very hard to race. And I have this Cobra. Alright. Lotus Cobra, get in here. We're going crazy stupid right now. Trigger. Gain 4 life. Make a blue. Fetch. I'm going to get a boatload of mana here. I am slightly concerned about my life total. I will get basic planes, which will make an additional boatload of mana. I'm going to put an extra white in the pool because I am rocking out with this ephemerate here. Do I want to ephemerate my RIZZLER? I think I do. Or, no, I have an end step coming. Alright, yeah. I have an end step with a pod. Or ritual. Solitude. I can't pay the ward. Starfield Vocalist. I'd have to lose Omnath to deploy. I could put Solitude into play and not kill anything. I do kind of want this Vocalist, though. And I've got another Omnath. Alright. Sack Omnath, get Vocalist. Okay, passing. And I can ephemerate to draw 2 cards at any point. Saga's about to pop. Making a construct, which makes Kappa unblockable. If they have a Lava Spur Boots, they get a reasonable attack here. But that's not even really true. I just block the construct and ephemerate. Haywire Might. Okay. That's probably too late to matter. But it is a reasonable card to have. Alright, 7 unblockable. Got me. Soporific Springs. Zapped it in. Thoughtcast. Alright, yeah, that's pretty good. Okay. I have to make my land drop first. Because I don't have red. But I do get 2 mana off this. We'll make a red and a blue. Red, blue, green, white. That lets me tap some of my basics for Omnath, who will draw 2 cards, and then I'll fetch and gain 8 life. A draw. A draw. Another ritual. Now Haywire Might's a wuss. I'm going to attack for 4 flying. And then second main, I fetch, I get 2 mana. So I can get a Surveil here, cast Birthing Ritual, and still be representing Ephemerate. Meticulous Archive. Many, many things happen. Oh, right. Omnath gets doubled as well, so I get the 4 life and the mana. We're just doing it all. Living the dream. White. Green. I don't know. This doesn't matter. Solitude on top. I wonder if I could have saved that fetch land to defeat the ward trigger in the end step. I could cast Omnath and draw 2 cards now. One of them would be Solitude. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's exactly enough to beat the ward. All right. They draw 2. One of them Solitude. And then pitch Ephemerate 2 Solitude because I need all my mana. Evoke, evoke, exile Kappa, exile Construct. Opponent has conceded. Oh yeah. Starfield Vocalist. Big time. Hey, any affinity deck you want Wrath of the Skies against. Strict Serenade hits everything in their deck. Mystical Dispute hits a lot of things in their deck. Consigned to Memory hits a lot of things in their deck. Vexing Bauble stops their dump out. I think on the play, I want Bauble, but on the draw, they'll already have those things in play. Do I think I'm actually going to win a stack fight? I think Consigned to Memory is not actually what I want. Starfield Vocalist is always optional. March of Otherworldly Light might have won me that game. Just got to time walk my opponent on that Urza Saga. Ephemerate is nice, but conditional. Plage is nice. I think Risen Reef is always pretty trimmable. And Cobra. Let's bring in a bunch of Wraths and Disputes. Love this hand. I'm in. Kind of slow if they have the whole Pinnacle Emissary make a trillion homies thing, but I'm in. Hallowed Fountain untapped. Bad news for me. They got the guy. All right, how many things are happening? I don't have Solitude to slow it down. Memnite, Bauble, Opal. Oh, do they have the Kappa? It's live. Oh no, the full nut draw. Okay. All right. Well, this is why you register that deck. This is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I cannot win this game. Like, even Wrath wouldn't beat the Kappa. Okay. Nut draw on the draw. I'll accept that. I'm going to shave another Starfield Vocalist and another Ephemerate to get my Vexing Baubles in. This card's only good on the play and only on turn 1. But that hand that they just showed me is completely non-functional if Vexing Baubles around. Like Rumba. Do I mulligan or do I just play the cards that I have? These cards aren't even good. All right, I'll mulligan. These cards are good. I wish this was not Hedge Maze, though. If I could dispute a Pinnacle Emissary, I would feel totally fine. But obviously I cannot. All right, I'm going to keep, and I think I actually get rid of Omnath here. Because the way this game looks to me is turn 2 Birthing Ritual, turn 3 Warp Riddler, try to flip into something good. And hope the game is still being played at that point. But I do have the Wrath. Like that last game, if they don't have Kappa, I can just take 5 or 6, like whatever, how much damage that was, a number of times, and Wrath for 0 off the top rope can stabilize even at the end. The problem was the Kappa on top. Yeah, I'm pretty interested in finding white mana. That card is very good, but it's not any part of the plan I'm showing. Solitude also would have broken up their nut draw last game if I can kill the Emissary in response to the first trigger. There is actually a lot of counterplay for this sort of thing. Here we go. It was off on Mulligan, so a little less to work with this time around. Memnite, what a twist. Opal. This is one short of Kappa. P-hole. All right, so they're just converting a portable hole into a 1/1. That seems pretty whack. That might mean they have Kappa next turn. All right, I'm getting the ritual in now that they've spent their portable hole on nothing. And we'll see if they have Haywire Might or another hole. All right, they were investing in a Kappa. Makes sense. I could have disputed that. Chose to invest in my ritual instead. Drone token, got a taste. Okay, cool. Now I don't even have to hurt myself to represent Mystical Dispute, though I have been whiffing pretty hard on white mana. All right, there's some white mana. End step, stack my triggers correctly. Omnath, that is the one I was looking for. That can help stabilize and win a race. Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8. Unblockable. 9 unblockable. A fetch land off the top might just do it on its own. Quantum Riddler. So Lotus Cobra can go on the stack. I don't have red or white here. And I'm not going to hit 2 land drops this turn. I can go to 14. Okay, play Lotus Cobra. And if I'm going to leave up Mystical Dispute, I have to take 2, which would put me at 12, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's not a lot of flyers left in the deck. All right, well, I will take 2. I'll gain 4 life and make a red. Not that it matters, I'm just warping a Riddler. I don't think I'm attacking here. All right, cool. Played around it. I don't think I'm attacking here because the 2 damage from Memnites could add up to a lot. Shame I couldn't get 1 card less here. Okay, there's Vocalist. And I'm just going to go into the end step and have a ritual. Okay, there's a new Riddler, so now I can block flyers. Solitude is not better than that. Okay, yes. Sack Warp Riddler for real Riddler. Okay, still no sign of white mana. A fetch land ends the game. Actually, I don't even need a fetch land anymore because Starfield Vocalist gives me double. 7, 8, 9 damage coming towards me. 1 card left in hand. They could actually push with the Memnites here and get another damage across because I don't know if I can afford to block with Lotus Cobra. Yeah. All right. Well, all right. They thought of it, then unthought of it. 7, 8, 9. I'm at 3. Big turn to draw any land deck, please. Oh, no! The 4-color mana base. Hoisting my petard. Okay, so I warp Vocalist, then move into my end step and hope something very cool happens. Even the Flage is in my hand. This is not great. Yeah, there's just nothing to be done. All right, I'll move to my end step and see what happens. Ritual. Lotus Cobra's my only choice? Life is pain. Why? Okay, so my hope here is that they don't have an artifact. Like if they can't trigger Kappa, we're actually still playing. Oh, that sucks. All right, sack the Vocalist is just not going to be a real card. And pass. I couldn't gain 4 life with Omnath. Yeah, if I'd seen a Risen Reef there, I would have jammed it so hard. Just hitting a land drop in the end step triggers Lotus Cobra, gains me 4 life, turns on Ephemerate. Oh yeah, they had this in exile. They were guaranteed to have a thing. All right, well, tough. And all these lands came from my hand, right? Yeah, I didn't fetch this game. I never had a look at white mana other than just drawing for turn, though I declined a Risen Reef 1 time, but I don't think that was wrong at the moment. I think it's really just being 18 cards deep in my deck and missing on the fetch land ever. Like fetch land last turn wipes their board. Fetch land the turn before wipes their board. Okay, I mean, that was really close, and they had the Pinnacle, Kappa, Nut Draw, games 2 and 3. I think I comported myself well there. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. On the play for round 4. Lands and spells, I'll keep. Ooh, we've got a Gemstone Caverns in the chat, pitching Bloodstained Mire. Okay, we might be dead. See what happens here. Gemstone Caverns, Urza Saga. What are they doing? We got Meticulous Archive. I'd love to see that Miser's March of Otherworldly Light. Prison Reef. I don't think I want more of that. Hey. Alright, well, I'll invest Birthing Ritual. And suddenly we're gaming. I pass the turn. I have Risen Reef, flip a card, Birthing Ritual up to a 4-drop next turn. But I don't know what's going on here. Oh, if they Blood Moon me? Yikes, yeah, Gemstone Caverns makes sense for Blood Moon. I could have fetched Basic Forest here, but that still wouldn't have done what I needed. Yikes. Alright, yeah, that sucks. Okay. I will play Misty Rainforest. Yeah, maybe I should have identified this. Like, Red Stompy is not a big modern deck. It's a big legacy deck. Oh, you don't say. Okay. Well, do I want to play this out in case I hit... No, if I hit Lotus Cobra next turn, I can kind of do it all anyway. I'm worried about getting the seismic thing, the destroy target land, creatures can't block, the MDFC, like actual Stone Rained. But I think I get to tutor a basic if they do that, and if they cast that on plains, I get island, then I get forest, and then we're actually playing. But just naturally drawing 2 of my basics might save me here. Though, the damage is... It's pouring in. White card plus Ephemerate before the game is over would also help. Alright, we are limping into the future here. I'm about to take 6. And then next turn, I take 4 times 3, 12. Alright, so this is the last turn of the game. White card or an island or something I can put into play all matter here. No! Alright. Okay, died to Blood Moon. What do we got here? Artifact, creature, or planeswalker. None of those were things that happened. Yeah, if I just know to fetch basics, that game is fine. Consign to memory. Hit Saga chapters. Yeah, if I also draw Lotus Cobra, that game is fine. If I draw Flage, I'm doing something. Prismatic Ending, March of Otherworldly Light, both would have answered Blood Moon. Okay, yeah, I mean, I was playing okay there. The Wraths can clean up basically everything they're ever going to do, if I think I can get to double white. Vocalist. I don't think I actually want Consign. Lotus Cobra seems really important. That lets me play Magic through a Blood Moon, as long as I have access to my forest. The scam stuff seems really important here. Yeah, I think it's just Vocalist. That game also made possible by Gemstone Caverns. Or else I would have already had the Ritual Chain running by the time the Blood Moon landed. Okay, I'm going to keep my hand. I have access to basics, and importantly, the forest. I have the forest and then whichever other one I want. I could also go Island Forest, and that guarantees Quantum Riddler even through Blood Moon. Ragavan. Alright, well, I'm going to have to spend a turn killing that thing. Which also means I have to develop white mana. Oh, good. Now I have Island Forest anyway. Get plains. Prismatically end this thing. A Surveil Land on turn 2. Means they're not going to run out. I'll take it. Ragavan. What happens if I just put a full-size Quantum Riddler in front of that? I guess we're not going to find out because I drew another Prismatic Ending. Scamming out Riddler there, I think, is perfectly reasonable to do. A Island and Forest coming into play. Island, Forest, Birthing Ritual, pass. And now, if they don't answer Ritual, I get a Ritual. If they do answer Ritual, alright, well, I don't love that. And I've used my Prismatic Endings already. And Quantum Riddler does not work the way creatures entering abilities. Okay, so Risen Reef. It's fine. I will cast Risen Reef and just see what 4-drop I can shit out. Hopefully there's just like an Omnath or something big that can hit a Torpor Orb. And there is. Yeah, Omnath, get in, pass. And creatures entering don't cause abilities to trigger, but lands entering do. Urza's Saga. 4 cards in hand over there. I don't think I finished this thought. Warp does not get stopped by Torpor Orb, but Evoke does. I could spam out a Solitude and it would just stay in play. Quantum Riddler would enter as a 4/6, not draw a card, and then go away. Fable is going to have to be fine. Not that I like it. and I would like to Surveil here. And I think double white is more important. I'll get Meticulous Archive. I gain 4 life, then Surveil. I'll take that. That's a boatload of mana and a Quantum Riddler. Gain 4 life. Attack for 4. We're just in a trusty old damage race at this point. And here I can get Hedge Maze, which will generate the pile of mana and also leave Ephemerate up to protect my various creatures. Is a generic 3/4 something I'm in the market for? I don't think so. Quantum Riddler, 4/6, doesn't draw a card. Turn Omnath into different Omnath. Untapped Omnath. I think I will, sure. Okay, pass. A Wrath of the Skies wins the game on the spot, if I can come up with one, but when I can't draw cards, that's a bit harder. Chalice of the Void, a card in your deck, good to know. Karn the Great Creator. Okay, there's that one. Ensnaring Bridge, that'll make the game really hard. Oh, I drew 2 cards in my upkeep because that's how Quantum Riddler works, or in my draw step. I forgot you just get that. Life is good sometimes. I'm going to attack my opponent and Karn here. I attack Karn, attack you. Okay, they are taking a block. And then Lightning Bolt. I'll save it. Zoop. Okay, that's back. Second main. Might as well get my hand empty, right? I don't need a mana floating with this Lotus Cobra. I will gain 4 life. And I'll play the Cobra. This activates 3 drops as live for Birthing Ritual. 2 more Riddlers. Okay, I am going to flip Omnath into a Riddler because I still get the static ability in my draw step, a thing that I totally remembered without Magic Online telling me last turn. If I'm drawing 3 cards a turn, that gives me the best looks at that Wrath of the Skies that I'm trying to find. If they're making a construct, despite Ensnaring Bridge being the plan, that tells me that they're holding mana and they don't have a lot going on. The Grafdigger's Cage turns off Ritual. And here's the bridge, and now I'm just going to try to draw 3 cards a turn until I find a Wrath of the Skies. I forgot I had Ephemerate. Sure. Let's Ephemerate Quantum Riddler. Why not? I draw 3, multiple Solitudes. Those are just 3 4s, or 2 3s, just making up random amounts of power and toughness they have. Risen Reef sucks ass. Might as well cast Solitude. And Birthing Ritual, I look at the cards. I am not going to use the ability as I see Wrath of the Skies hit the graveyard, or go to the bottom of the deck. But it is important to keep my hand to 1 card or less, which is also important for my opponent, who is playing the card Ensnaring Bridge. Easy peasy, does not draw cards. Thanks, Torpor Orb. I draw 3 cards again. Okay, Risen Reef. Temple Garden. Tapped. Lotus Cobra makes white. Play Solitude. Keep these Rizzlers rizzling. And pass the turn. All right, they're copying Construct in the end step. I am not using my Ritual. I think I'm ahead, though it is definitely garbage magic on both sides right now. I'm just fairly confident that drawing 3 cards a turn and having 3 cards in my deck that win the game on the spot when I draw them, or more cards actually, is the way to go. Okay, interesting conundrum now is March of Otherworldly Light. I don't actually think I want to take out Grafdigger's Cage. It could be Torpor Orb, but then my opponent has Seasoned Pyromancer going. I think I'm going to take out Cage and Orb. This can hit artifacts, right? Yes. All right. If I take out Orb, then Seasoned Pyromancer gets to do its thing, but so does Risen Reef. And then I get to shred. Creature cards can't enter the battlefield from libraries. That's fine. Okay. I'm going to exile Torpor Orb. Take that out, because my attacks aren't lethal yet, but shredding through my deck might be. And this Risen Reef has another Risen Reef, so I'll flip a jillion cards here. Opponent appears to be deep in the tank on this March of Otherworldly Light, with their 0 cards in hand and no place to make. Okay, game on. I think I would like to generate mana and Surveil first. All right, they're going to draw some cards in response. That's fine. That was always available. Now my 2 power creatures can attack. I'll make a green. Then I'll fetch. I'm out of surveillance. Disappointing. I'm at 26 though. We'll figure it out. Breeding pool. Shock that in. Make a blue. I'm trying to get to where I want to go with white still available. All right, Risen Reef. Flip trillions of cards. Lotus Cobra to my hand. Birthing Ritual to my hand. Bummer. All right, that did kind of peter out. But I can get back down to one card in hand, which has been the goal all along. And I don't actually want to attack with Lotus Cobra, so I will pass the turn. Look at 7 cards that are not Wrath go to the bottom of my deck. Watch a Wrath go to the bottom of my deck. And pass. A Heretic Ritual and Karn. That's annoying because it just gets the Torpor Orb that I exiled last turn. Good beats. All right, well, I had a turn of ripping, and the situation is still exactly the same. Are you going to copy your Seasoned Pyromancer after turning it off? You're allowed to do that. Yeah, you love to see it. Scoreboard. Okay, draw 3 cards. Oi, caramba. Well, I will put these cards into play, as is the way of things. Flage, Steam Vents, and then next turn, I'll draw 4 cards. Oh, that could have been tapped. I forgot about my Cobras. I'm not going to lie. We have both done a silly thing this turn cycle. Okay, pass. Wrath of the Skies to the bottom. Wrath of the Skies to the bottom? Or Wrath of the Skies to the bottom. Okay, so now I actually know, because there are 22 cards in my deck. I know that 2 of my rats are in my top 8 cards. All right, what can Karn do from this position? Is there a second object that can lock out Wrath of the Skies? Does the Cobras mean that even if they have a Blood Moon, I can still get double white somewhat reliably? Walking Ballista. All right, so they're going to cast a big Walking Ballista is what's going on here. Big, but not lethal. It has 4. It can't kill any of the Riddlers. It can pick off the Cobras and Reefs. But that's not what's important right now. Those are going to die to my Wrath of the Skies anyway. If they pick off the Cobras and then find a Blood Moon, it can actually become complicated. All right, I am 50-50. I'm better than 50-50 and still whiffed. Love it. Yeah, I need to get my hand back down to 1 again. Make white. Make white. Cast Solitude. I'm actually going to hold the Ephemerate. And, like, I'll end step the Ephemerate. And then I'll have 1 card in my hand going to my next turn. But I'm holding the Lotus Cobra so I can beat Blood Moon. Cranking up the Walking Ballista. Slow mode. It's technically a win con eventually. Plussing Karn. A end step, Ephemerate, target, Quantum Riddler. I don't know if I even want the Ephemerate to rebound. I don't know that it matters. But here it is. All right, I'll target Lotus Cobra. I mean, they can just kill it in response, but that doesn't matter. All right, deck, come on. There we go. Sweet. Merciful Poseidon. Okay, I'm going to Wrath for 3, which means I should not play out the Cobra before I do that. White. White. 1, 2, 3. This doesn't kill Planeswalkers, right? Artifact, creature, enchantment. No. All right, so for 3 is the number. I can bank a bunch of extra energy, but I'd rather have a bunch of extra mana. Okay. X equals 3. Kill everything you own and make a big attack. And Quantum Riddler, just hard carrying my entire life. We love a passive ability. Right, killing my Solitudes with Ballista on the way out. That'll save you some damage. X equals 3. Most things die. I'm going to attack my opponent's life points directly. And then bring back Flage and deal the last 3 damage. Red, red, that's blue. Red, red, white, white. 3 damage to you. Cool. That game wasn't actually close, but it did take a long time. Okay, knowing they have Karns in the deck, Consign to Memory is a little more tempting. Strict Serenade, Artifact Creature Planeswalker. That gets Karn and some other stuff. The Fable also, I could counter important chapters. I don't want to get too reactive because I do still feel like sending it is important. We also saw Chalice of the Void. All right. Okay, I think I can shave 1 Ephemerate. I don't know that I'm getting all of these in. If they have Torpor Orb, Starfield Vocalist is even worse. Still love Lotus Cobra. I think I'm going to go 3 of these in and shave some of the fringe stuff. Okay, Basic Forest is available to me, but no real plan. I think this is actually a mulligan. Yeah, that doesn't do anything with the Basic Forest. Okay, 2 basics and Lotus Cobra. I'm in. And I think I'm actually going to pitch the Risen Reef here because scamming out a Solitude is available to me. We saw Poetic Ritual, which means they can turn 2 Blood Moon, which means I have to decide what basic I want if I only get 1 basic. Oh, all right, well, I guess it's Plains. It's been decided for me. And the Rag. Vexing Bauble. Well, that makes my life a little more complicated. I was trying to scam. Nice. All right. Not only is it a land, it's a fetch land, and it represents basic island. Cobra, get in. I'm not sandbagging this thing. I am trying to Solitude or Omnath next turn. Bummer. Still made him have it. Wrath of the Skies. That'll be good at some point. Okay. They just running out of juice and had to spam off their own thing there. I am going to Surveil here off of a blue Surveil land. I think that playing around Blood Moon at this point is worse than just hitting my land drop into playing Omnath, dumping Consigned to Memory, looking for that red source. Impossible to find. All right, this game might get weird. Opponent's missing land drops, and we know their deck's full of 3s that are really good. Like if they have Blood Moon here, that might actually get complicated. P-Rit, okay. Please play Seasoned Pyromancer. All right, here's this thing. All right, that's mostly fine. Birthing Ritual. Oh, you don't say. All right, time to cook. Birthing Ritual. Pitch. Solitude to Solitude. I think I'd rather have Omnath, though that might be hard to cast. All right, I'm going to pitch Solitude to Solitude. Exile the Goblin Shaman. Ephemerate Solitude. Exile the Goblin Shaman again. And then I can flip into any creature in my deck, and there's an Ephemerate on rebound. There's Omnath. Yeah. Yes. Give me Omnath. All right, let's party. Now we're doing stuff. They get to move a lot of cards around here. Whatever that 3-drop is that was locked in their hand is probably about to be pretty good. We both broke out of our slump on the same turn. I did it first, though. Discarded Seasoned Pyromancer and Chalice of the Void, found the land. Poetic Ritual, we're going straight to 4. Or we're going to 3 with a mana still up. Does that mean Grafdigger's Cage? What are we following up with? Oh, Dismember. That plays. All right, so that fizzles my rebound. I have to live with that. Live in shame. I think I just Quantum Riddle and flip it into something in the end step here. I think there's more good white cards to hit than green cards, so I'll leave up the Plains. Hit another RIZZLER. Another Omnath. Give it to me. Another one of these. All right, I hit a fetch land. That's really good. That can make the game go crazy next turn if this Omnath is still around. Opponent is running out of juice over there. They have a second Fable Chapter 2. The first Fable's going to flip. Blood Moon is frustratingly still pretty effective against me here. If I can get basic Island off this Flooded Strand before that sort of thing kicks in, we're in a reasonable spot. Opponent kept all the cards in their hand. That's scary. Okay, Urza's Saga. It's another thing that dies to Wrath and disincentivizes Blood Moon this particular turn. Do I want Omnath to die to Lightning Bolt? Not really. This next turn is actually a huge one to have Omnath in play or not. Big difference. The mana boost lets me just do it all, including blow up that treasure they just made. A Lightning Bolt. They must have Double Bolt. Fire Magic. That's cool. All right. Well, those are dead. I accept. A next turn Reflection of Kiki Jiki will be active. My opponent is completely hellbent. I can Wrath away everything except the reflections, which doesn't seem good enough. Or I can warp 2 RIZZLERs. Flip one of them into something. I think I like that. Warp. Another RIZZLER. All right. Fetch basic Island. Warp. And I still have Solitude, so if they do something like make a construct, copy it, attack for a bunch, I can break that up. All right, Ritual happening. Oh my god. Well, I did not account for that. Just no hits in 7 cards. All right. Well, Solitude, you better save me, big fella. And the land I drew is tapped, which means Wrath isn't even on. Yeah, this could get really ugly. Okay, the other reflection is awake now. Okay, just attacking, not getting too crazy. They're going to try to Splinter Twin me in the end step, I think. Where you copy reflection, which makes a hasty reflection, and then like for every 1 mana you spend, you get 2 damage, or they could just crank out a shitload of constructs. An untapped land means none of this is a problem. Oh my god. All right. Well, we may still have a problem. Okay, Lush Portico gets a look before anything else happens. I think I'm interested in that. Risen Reef into the graveyard, that's not helping me now. Risen Reef into play. That is a ritualable thing. All right, Consign to Memory goes into my hand, that's castable. I think I might just be fucking dead though. That whiff not having a blocker last turn, devastating. Okay, making a construct is fine. We're trying to decide what to reflect on here. Because they can reflection, and then that copied reflection can copy the construct. Like if they want to copy construct, they could just do that after making a number of reflections. I'd strongly prefer if my opponent just tried to copy their construct here. Okay, getting that tap land is exciting. All right, Solitude pitching Omnath, because I'm going to need this Wrath of the Skies, which also triggers Risen Reef, something that I totally remembered, which means I could hit Ephemerate here. Okay, Birthing Ritual to my hand. Ooh, do I consign and keep Solitude in play? I think I do, actually. All right, yeah, that gives me a lot of juice. Okay, that play came together completely by accident. Do I think Lotus Cobra is better than Risen Reef in play? It does trade with Goblin Shaman. I'm going to Wrath all of it away next turn anyway. Okay, yeah, I think I actually do prefer Lotus Cobra in the mix. All right, spicy turn, but here we are. 12 life, Urza Saga, ready to party. They can copy this thing twice, get 2 hasty 6/6s, which will be 7/7s once they make a thing. But all I have to do is survive this turn and cast Wrath. There's the extra construct number 1, extra construct number 2. Can I afford to leave Solitude in play? No, that's playing with fire in a way I'm not really happy about. I think I'll just take my full board sweep and have to be pretty happy with it. Draw for turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wrath for 3. Take it all. Play a land. I believe there's 1 Surveil left in my deck, and then we're just fully back in business next turn. Opponent's drawn 2 cards over there. And Ragavan's in business as well. I'll let that hit me. The alternative is trying to surveil and control it. They flip. They exile Prismatic Ending. There's no targets for that. And off we go. 1 last Surveil land in the deck. Hedge Maze. Oh, I should have got a red source. That was foolish. Is it foolish enough to leave Misty Rainforest on top? I think that's fine. Yeah, okay. I'm in. Okay, Misty Rainforest. Warp Riddler. I'm going to draw my 2 cards before I commit anything else. There's lots I can do in this deck with 5 mana. Like all of this. Alright, sick. Cobra. Fetch. I'll have 4 mana. So I'm going to get a tapped red land. I'm going to make a red for funsies. And then cast Risen Reef. Now I have 2 Ragavan blockers. I guess there was the possibility that Risen Reef hits a land. Okay, so I could have had Birthing Ritual in play here if I was willing to take 2 damage on spec. Which I don't know that I am in this spot. Okay, pass. Opponent's got Ragavan in hand, 1 draw step to rule them all. Ooh, this is some mana. They untapped it really quickly, though. There is a Seasoned Pyromancer in the graveyard that could be used for something. I have 3 Quantum Riddlers in Warp, and enough mana to play them with Birthing Ritual. 22 cards in my deck, 18 life to deal. Dashed Ragavan. I think I'll trade Risen Reef for that, because Lotus Cobra functions under Moon, which seems like the only way that they could even slow me down here. A Karn with no mana floating. Grabbing an Ensnaring Bridge. Sure, I'll figure that out eventually. A Windswept Heath. Trigger, make blue. 2, 3, 4, 5. Riddler draws 2. They're all lands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not enough. I think would I rather just have another Riddler in play than a ritual? I don't think that's true. All right, there's a ritual. Attack Karn for 2. I don't need that tutoring again on short notice. Flage. I can finish off Karn by sacking Lotus Cobra. That actually sounds dope as hell. Flage. Finish Karn off. Okay, here we go. Ensnaring Bridge versus the World. There's the bridge. Steam Vents. Shock that in. Red, red, white, white. Flage, 3 to you. Other Riddler. Clock is a small consideration here. Not much, but not 0. There we go. Now the game is over. And the cool thing about Flage, just having exactly 1 Flage in the deck, is I could just sack it every turn. So it's in the graveyard every turn to Helix them every turn times however much. Oh, wow. All right, well, now I'm going to have to spin up a Lotus Cobra, but it's in there somewhere. Omnath also works here. Pass the turn. There is an Omnath. Okay, sack Flage to get that. I guess Omnath doesn't actually work here. What am I even talking about? None of this is true. I'm lying. I need Lotus Cobra. And have I used them all? Did I board one out? Please don't, please don't, please don't. Okay, okay. There is exactly 1 Lotus Cobra still in my deck, and I'm doing a lot of cranking to find it. Temple Garden, gain 4 life. Yeah, opponent's doing a good job playing to the clock here. Not, you know, not saying there's anything wrong with that. It is their out. Okay. Yes, sacrifice Quantum Riddler for Lotus Cobra. One of the funniest things I've ever said. Making 2 dopes, and I can use Ephemerate to protect Cobra if they find a removal spell. Okay, here we go. Now it's game time. Play a land, gain a life, make a white. 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 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's more than I need. I'm playing fast and loose. My favorite ways to play. X equals 3. It takes out all your stuff. I can fetch with Omnath. As long as there's a land left in my deck. There's exactly 1. All right. I'll take the damage. I can live with it. This plays the other Riddler. Just trying to do some damage here. And yeah, there's no more lands to fetch. So Omnath's Chapter 3 doesn't matter. I can play Solitude. They'd need another Ensnaring Bridge, and then I would need to find one of the last 8 cards in my deck, which I didn't look at when I just fetched, and I probably should have. And what a battle. Cheesed by the game 1 Blood Moon, and then 2 basically 25-minute matches after that. But we came out ahead. Let's go on to the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw. In the final round, positive record hangs in the balance. I'm going to keep my hand. It has good mana. It has my prismatic ending, which I don't play a lot of these sort of effects, and having one on the draw could buy me a lot of time against something like Oscillate Pride, perhaps. Scoreboard haters, we did it. Prismatic End, that thing. I have Solitude for the next thing, but I hope I don't have to fire it off that quick. Sacred Foundry. This is likely to reveal in a Johnny. Yep, there he is. I don't have to react immediately to that. Like, if I draw Ephemerate, my life gets better. I can at least draw 1 card and make a decision. I think I'm just going to pass. If they do anything, I can Solitude a Johnny, but I don't really want to, especially if I get 2 more looks at Ephemerate between Surveil and Draw, and then Risen Reef can let me draw a card off of Solitude. I'm committed to just taking all of this. They flipped a Risen Reef. They won't be using that. Boros Energy can have Blood Moon in it, but I don't think I'm in a position to respect that. And I can respect it, actually, quite a bit. Never mind, I lied. I'm holding in the forest. I can fetch Plains or Island here. Which one would I rather have? Probably Plains. Alright, I'm going to fetch a Plains. And then summon a Risen Reef. This card lines up well against Ragavan. Happy to block it on a 2-for-1 basis. Solitude enters my hand. That means I can Solitude and still have access to Omnath next turn. Or I can Solitude and maybe have the next Solitude lined up. End step. Elegant Parlor. Kept a card on top. Hate that. Yeah, this is an interesting decision, which thing to pitch to Solitude, because if I hit a land, that's okay. I would like to remove a Johnny this turn. Okay, I'm going to block and then Solitude the Ajani, and I know they could kill their own cat or my Risen Reef in response here and get some action. I'm going to pitch Omnath because I think Solitude is a better card going along in the matchup. Okay, this kills my Reef, which means I don't get to draw a card here. But that doesn't flip a Johnny. They could bolt their own Cat Warrior and get a flip here. Yeah, that's fine. I accept. They could have done that anyway at any point. The way I could have played around this is being potentially more aggressive, like Solitude on my own turn, especially after they keep the card on top with the Surveil. And now they have a red permanent, and the damage is going to start stacking. And this is the fail case where I certainly wish Omnath was in my hand, though even that isn't good enough. All right, and I am just dead. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I'm at 1, and I'd have to fetch to keep playing the game. Okay. Yeah, the double removal spell there. I could have played around one of them, at least, by just going on my turn. Okay, Wrath of the Skies comes in. Get signed to memory. Whatever. They have Flages in their deck, and a 4 toughness creature is pretty nice. I don't think that's the game plan, though. Risen Reef, good against Ragavan, bad against everything else. Lotus Cobra. Ephemerate, bad versus removal, but also good versus removal. The Squeeze. I could cut a Vocalist, leave more Ephemerates. I could bring in 1 Endurance. Start to pad up a little bit. Just cut some of the conditional cards for cards that are more likely to be good when I draw them. Okay, I'm trying this. A light change, but Wrath of the Skies goes a long way. Okay, I think I like this hand. Keep. I'm going to play Sacred Foundry tap to start. I just don't want to get Blood Mooned out of a game, is the thing. Oh. I was going to do something different. I was just going to Prismatic Ending, but now I have a Solitude. Do I want to deploy the Cobra? I think I do. I could deploy Ritual with the intent of going completely batshit next turn with Solitude. All right, yeah, I'm going to play Ritual. The way I fetched does not enable Quantum Riddler, and I hope I don't get smoked for that. Voice of Victory. All right, that's fine. That works for my plan. I take 1. A land would be great, as always. Hey, we did it. Okay. Cobra. Landfall. Make a white. Solitude. Exile Prismatic Ending. Exile Guide of Souls. Ephemerate. Exile Voice of Victory. And then warp this, draw 2 cards. And then we will Ritual in the end step and see what's cooking. Not a bad turn. Endurance. Is that better than Lotus Cobra here? It's certainly bigger than Lotus Cobra. Is it better than a Warped Riddler? I don't think it's better than Solitude. Cobra sets up a lot with the Vocalist. But Ephemerate's already there. All right, yeah, I will turn my small creature into a medium-sized creature. And proactively slurp 1 card out of their graveyard. And there is an Ephemerate in exile right now. I don't think I'm going to Ephemerate anyone. Just decline that politely. Attack with all creatures. Then warp Vocalist and see what happens in the end step. Ephemerate is checkmating a removal spell. Quantum Riddler. I would like one of those. Yes, sacrifice Vocalist into a Forever Riddler. Draws 1 card. Could have made it more if I jammed off the Ephemerate, but there's no reason to do that, especially when I'm currently navigating removal so well. Elegant Parlor. Got the Entomb. Dumped the Free Flage. You hate to see it. But Endurance at least slowed that down by 20%. Guide of Souls. You're in there. Voice of Victory. I think I'd like to Ephemerate Solitude in response. This gets cooked by a removal spell, but let's party. All right, cool. They've now gained life this turn in case their last card in hand is Oslet Pride, but they would have gained life with the guide anyway. Sick. All right, we're in my turn. I get to rebound and deal with Voice of Victory. And Ephemerate's such a sweet card. Land for turn. Attack for 7. Cast Omnath, who will draw 2 cards because of RIZZLER. I need a land that makes white here. Double blue. I am headed in that direction. Double white. Hallowed Fountain does it all. Red, white, green, blue. Draw 2 cards. Then move to my end step and see what happens. Risen Reef. Do I want to turn Endurance into Risen Reef? It turns a bigger body into a card. That card could also be for life with Omnath. Yeah, I'll do it. Keep the cards flowing. The spice must flow. Another Risen Reef to my hand. That could get crazy next turn. Okay, my engine is fully functioning. They're working their way towards Flage, who has now 3 cards in the graveyard, and milling over an Arena of Glory. Feels good for me. And they're dead basically without impacting that game at all. That was sweet. Ephemerate had some big moments there, but again, it's not a card that I'm happy to cast into removal. If they just had a Galvanic Discharge or Lightning Bolt on the turn where I ephemerated that first Solitude, I would have been in a much worse position. I think that's fine, though. Scamming from behind, like they're going to be on the play, and they're a fast deck. That 1 Endurance did feel good. I don't think that means I want more, but the 1 was nice. White removal is the name of the game. Strict Serenade can counter most of the cards in their deck, but I don't really want to give them a bird. I feel like this is for bigger fish. It's not like turning Oscillate Pride into a 2/2 bird is nothing. I could cut another Vocalist, but a 3/4 is just a good body in the matchup. All right, 3 Ephemerate is fine. Same deck going back in. I did my due diligence. I thought about it. And I won that game without revealing Wrath of the Skies. I have to imagine Boros Energy players assume anyone with white mana has access to that card, but I didn't literally show it to them. Hey, we've got a Prismatic Ending. I'll take it. Prismatic Ending and some stuff to think about. A plan to work towards. They milled to 6 and developed Ragavan. I can get all of my basics and have a red land left over at the end of the chain and do everything on curve. This works out nicely. And that. Arena of Glory. It's here. There's a Johnny. Ooh, well, you don't say. I will play around Blood Moon as well as I can. End this a Johnny. Okay. We're doing something. Endurance is going to be off curve because I played on basics, but I am as insulated as I can possibly be against Blood Moon. Guide of Souls. Attack. And second main surprise a Johnny. Sure. They always have another one. Solitude. It might be a little late. I have some options here. I can play Forest, Warp RIZZLER. If I hit exactly Ephemerate, I'm doing great. Or I could save the 2 damage and play Stomping Ground tap this turn. I think I want a high roll. I am falling behind, and I'd like to be less behind. And look at that shit! Sign me up for the lottery right now. All right, here we go. Pitch Omnath. Play to your outs, kids. Don't know how many times I need to tell everyone that, but you put these cards in your deck. Try to draw them. Okay. Would have been sweet to ephemerate the RIZZLER, but I think answering those creatures actually matters enough that the 4/6. What were my choices there? Maybe I didn't think about that enough. I have to deal with the Johnny. Is a RIZZLER enough to beat a Guide of Souls and 2 cat tokens? I don't know. I can't block here because I want my Ephemerate to come back down and do something. Seasoned Pyromancer discards 1, draws 2. Discarded a spell. And they hit a tapped land. Okay. So I think I'm going to be Solituding this Seasoned Pyromancer this turn, and then I have Solitude in play between them and my life total. Kept the card on top. Build million for 1 Ephemerate. Love to see it. Delete that. Oh my god. Alright, well. I think I would like to use Endurance to stabilize this turn. And then I can Ritual next turn with several options available. Disappointing, but okay. Please don't have a Johnny as your last card in hand. I'm quitting Magic. Alright, here we go. Combat. Here is the Endurance I telegraphed. I wasn't lying. I'm going to bluff Ephemerate with my mana I leave up. And this sets Flage back by a trillion turns. Alright, so they did have some energy in the bank anyway. Okay, but now they're Hellbent. and I will take the block. I know that this makes my Birthing Ritual worse, but Birthing Ritual is already bad because of Bombardment. And if I draw a blue land, which I easily did, we're in business. Do I need double red? Yes, Flage is in my deck. Steam Vents, double white's more important than double red. Misty Rainforest obviously can't get Sacred Foundry. The one dual land I can't get with this fetch is the one I want. It has to be blue, and I would like white. So Hallowed Fountain is where we end up. On that chain of events, I'm at 8, which on board is actually 5. Draw 2. All right. This is it. Can my opponent draw some insane shit like a Johnny right now, or am I okay? No plays, no attacks past the turn. That's what we needed. Life is good. Okay. I think I'd like to play 2 Birthing Rituals. And if they have removal, that's bad for me anyway. So I might as well attack. Okay, damage is done. End step. Can we get to the triggers? Okay, they could tear one of them. That's okay. Every creature in my deck is a hit. Flage, Risen Reef, all 3 Wrath of the Skies. Flage will fizzle if it targets a creature. So I think I can also just say no and March of Otherworldly Light this cat, draw 2 cards next turn. Though having access to Flage is pretty nice. That will turn the game. Okay, I will do this. Sack Quantum Riddler, take Flage, go face because I actually want to gain life. And I have March of Otherworldly Light that can delete this cat token if it has to, but I'd prefer to save it for the bombardment. Really depends on what they do this turn. 3, 4, 5. I go to 6. This only saves me 1 damage. Or no, it saves me 3 damage, or 2 damage, because the cat will hit me for 2 and then still be worth 1 in the bank. Okay, I am just going to take the ultra safe, ultra scared line here. Yeah, I take 1. This fizzles. I go to 9. And then hopefully I bring Flage into play next turn, as long as they didn't top deck the Raven Charm. They fetch for a red land. Steam Vents get in there. Big Rips, Hedge Maze. Red, red, white, white. That's the way we like to fight. Flage on the stack. Go face to gain the life. 12 to 11. Hedge Maze might as well come in. Second ritual. I'm probably going to flip past that anyway with this ritual, who can get anything. Or it can get Omnath. Starfield Vocalist. Yes, actually. Starfield Vocalist gives me double Flage next turn. This creature is smaller than Flage, but it represents a bigger endgame. All right, this is a straight up draw 2. Guide of Souls. 1 card left in hand. Please don't be Galvanic Discharge. No attack. That's good news. Okay, I'm getting another turn with Vocalist involved. Oh, I can Reef and Flage. All right, I will. Leaving up red, red, white, white. Getting Risen Reef cooking. 2 triggers. All right, they're killing Risen Reef. That's fine. It still does what it's supposed to do. Lotus Cobra to my hand. Lotus Cobra to my hand. Sure. I'm just made of cobras around here. And my only endurance is already in the graveyard. I don't think what I exile matters. And I'm going face with all of it for the reasons I have described multiple times. Bang. Bang. I actually have a good attack here with Vocalist. 3-4, huge body. All right, they decided to go to 3 about it. End step, Birthing Ritual. Omnath, Solitude. I can turn Flage into Omnath, draw 2 cards. I could just get Solitude, who doesn't really matter. Yeah, I actually think I like this repeated deletion of Flage intentionally so I can keep casting it blind. Okay, pass. I'm at 17 life, 2/4 toughness creatures in play. Opponent's got 2 cards in their hand. A Johnny would be a hell of a draw, but I can just escape Flage from my graveyard. If any card goes to my graveyard, I'm 1 away. If they kill Omnath, I can Flage them to death. If they don't kill Omnath, I'll gain 4 life and get 4 mana, and then Risen Reef goes nuts. I don't know, that one card in their hand better be pretty good. And we did it! We beat Boros Energy. Hell yeah. A positive record booked with Birthing Ritual, Quantum Riddler, Elemental Control. This deck takes a minute to heat up, but once it's there, that endgame is pretty dominating. The decks that beat me set up crazy stuff on like turn 1 or 2, or they had phenomenal interaction the whole way up the curve while applying pressure. And everyone who didn't do both of those things just got ground into the meat grinder. All of those opponents are just sausage at this point. I did have a call with Chris before playing this deck, and we talked through all the choices, and I think all of the things that he's done with this deck are well reasoned, and this isn't just a fever dream. This is the deck he plays in real life. He tunes it, he thinks about it, and things that I would consider flex slots after playing it. The main deck consign, the 4th Ephemerate, depending on how scammy you want to be versus how stable. The 4th Vocalist, and I'm basically just pointing to the cards I boarded out most often. And Risen Reef, that's a fun guy, but you don't need 4. Just having something on the curve at 3 that you can ritual up into meets the bar for this one. And it's not like the Warp World combo decks where Risen Reef is an essential combo piece. And unless I was kind of already winning, I never wanted to see the second one. And these are the types of cards you could cut if your metagame's super hostile. Like the one of March of Otherworldly Light showed up a lot and was good basically all the time. I was keeping hands on the strength of Prismatic Ending. I only played 2 of them, and when you're on the draw in an unknown matchup in Modern, it's a comforting card to have access to. I could see that going a little up on that, just depending on what you're going to play against. I'm not saying it's wrong, just saying these are tunable slots. The mana actually felt good for what it's trying to do. God damn, does this deck want Fury, though? Just give me a couple of Furies, and I'll be with Chris, working on this deck day in, day out. But even without it, this was sweet. This was a lot of fun. Extremely satisfying, fun, long games of Magic where you just feel that inevitability kick in and slowly smear your opponent across the pavement. I love this. This was a delight. Chris, thank you for sharing it with us. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon to support the channel, and I'll see you next time.